Hey, everybody, how are y'all doing today? How are y'all doing today? And welcome to W.Y.S.M, where what you say matters. And yes, we all know today is Super Bowl Sunday. And if you don't know, I am a Steelers fan. That I am. But my favorite player, I don't know if y'all can see me. My favorite player, number 24, at the time when he did play, is Mr. Marshawn Lynch. He is my one of I'm gonna say one of my favorite players. I'm kind of sad that I didn't get his jersey when he played for the Bills, but I did get this one. Yes, thank you. So, Mr. Marshawn Lynch, I salute you. You are one of my favorite players. So today I'm riding solo. I'm riding solo here, and of course I wanted to get on here and talk about what it means to not only survive out here, but survive and be successful at what you do. You know what I mean? It's not it's not an easy thing when now the saying is life be lifing, and that's exactly what it is. You know, I have been around single parents, mainly mothers. You know, I've been around that, and well, in my older, I'll say, in my older years, like mid to late 20s on up, I've seen that, and I have seen and been around and was a part of, you know, what it takes to survive out here, and it's not an easy thing, you know, um, doing something strange for some change. That's not something, anybody wants to do. I don't care, what it is, you know, and it doesn't just apply to single moms, that doing something strange for some change can apply to anybody, but when you're out here and you're trying to, survive, it's not easy. And it definitely is not easy when you're out here in the world, trying to be successful at what it is you're trying to do in life. And that can mean you going to school and finishing and getting either excuse me, a diploma or a degree. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You know, we we as people in life, if we strive for something, we strive for the better, in hopes and dreams of being successful at whatever it is that we do in life, you know, and wanting to be successful in life, you're going to go through the heartache, the headaches, and excuse me, and the heartbreaks. You're going to go through all of that, disappointments, letdowns, everything. You're going to go through it no matter what. I don't care what it is that you are trying to be successful at. Anything, anything, and I do mean anything. This goes across the board for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, here it is. You're trying to go to school, maintain a job, maintain a household, you know, and you're juggling, you're juggling all of this, or you know you you excuse me, I am getting tongue tied here. um you're trying to accomplish something, like say you're trying to start a business, you know what I mean, and you're going to go through it. You're going to go through it. Success is not something that is overnight for some people. For some people it is cool. For others it's not. You have some that get burnt out by it, because they've been trying so hard, that they want to give up. But a part of their spirit tells them not to. Or you have people that support you and saying, look, we support you, we behind you. And I get it. Those people that are giving you that love and that support are not the ones that can push you into the type of success that you want. They're the people that support you, your fans, your crowd, or whatever the case may be, you know. And when you do make it to that level in your life where you can breathe, then you have the people on the outside that are looking at you that got so much to say, so much criticism, so much this, so much that. They got so much to say about your success, and not knowing what it took to get to where you are. You know what I mean? That background. That's what I'm all about. You know, that background. A lot of people don't know what it takes. You know what I mean? As far as the background is concerned, you don't know what type of education they had to go through, whatever training they had to go to, who they had to talk to. You don't know any of that stuff. The amount of time, pressure, anything anybody has had to go through to get to where they are in life now. Nobody knows that, you know. Only the people that are around them knows that. And even today with social media, you got some people that will, have you come along their journey so that you can see what it is and it's all about. You know, I I enjoy talking to people, that I do. And I have met so many people out here that have started businesses, was successful at it, had to leave it alone, had to drop it, because they weren't generating the income they needed to sustain the business, so they had to drop it, you know. Like I said, it's so many people out here with successful stories, whether they have continued making it or they failed at it, you know. Either way, in my eyes, I look at it like you got out here and you did the work. You did the work, the blood, sweat, and tears. You did the work behind whatever it is you wanted to do. Yeah, you did the work, but for whatever reason, down the line, you couldn't sustain that business. I have no idea why. But the most respect I have when it comes to people is that they get out here and they do the work for whatever it is, you know, school, business, whatever. They got out here and they did the work, you know. I am in turn one of those people again that will get out here and do the work. Sometimes it's tiresome, it's a headache, but for the most part, you got to do it. You got to do it no matter what, and at least try and stay on top of what you do. You got to do that. If anybody saw any of my videos that I made a while back, I said on there that you have to change your mindset, meaning you can't get comfortable in that mindset, because the more you do, the more you the further away you push back whatever it is that you're trying to be successful at, you know so I know for me, like I said, I had to change my mindset and tell myself, okay, that this back here is your dream, what you're trying to do, what you're trying to be successful at, you know so I got to be the one to say, okay, do it. You need to do it and stop saying, I'll try. I'll try. No, change your mindset. You got to change your mindset behind what it is that you want to do, so that you can become successful at it. I commend people that that are on social media, the content creators. I commend them, because it's work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to do that, especially for the ones that give history facts. You got to dig all that info up and then filter it out to your followers. You know, so it's a lot. It's a lot of work. It's a job. And for those, when you find a love and a passion for something, it is no longer a job to you. You enjoy doing it. Like, I enjoy talking with people. I enjoy, sorry. I enjoy talking with people. I enjoy meeting people. You know, I do. That I do. And when I know for me, when I get out here and I'm talking to people and I'm meeting people, I enjoy it, because you just never know who you're going to meet. You know what I mean? Or what they've been through. You just never know. And I'm not one of those to judge a book by its cover, because I don't know you. I don't know anything about you until I start talking with you. And once I get to talking with a person, then I start finding out little tidbits about them that they don't mind sharing with me. And I'm grateful for that. You know, uh, I can say I met this guy down in Pensacola, Florida. Yep, we were at this restaurant. Um, I think I may be pronouncing it wrong. If anybody catch this video that's down there in Pensacola, please don't, please don't be mad at me if I say the name wrong. Uh, it's it's is it McCullough's Irish Pub? McCullough's Irish Pub. It's one of those. I know it's an Irish pub down in Pensacola, Florida. I may be saying the name wrong, but while we were in there, and might I say, the food and the service was wonderful. I met this guy that was, waiting for a table so that, he can, you know, just sit down and chill and drink his beer. And as I stood there and I was talking to him, I noticed this big ring on his finger. So of course, I asked him. I said, "Hey, what is this ring?" I said, "What is it?" And he was like, "Oh, it's a championship ring." I was like, "Oh, really?" He was like, "Yeah." And he began to explain to me that he's from Canada. He went to school, college, and I guess one of his um, internships was interning for the hockey team in Canada. And he told me he retired as a supply manager, I believe, something like that, something to that effect, for that hockey team in Canada, you know. And I'm like, wow, like 41 years. And he said he's divorced. He's down there in Florida with his kids and his grandkids, and he couldn't ask for anything better, you know. So that was, amazing to know that, from a person. You spent 41 years doing that job. That to me is commitment and dedication and the whole nine. 41 years. And they also gave him, a championship ring too. So hey, you can't beat that. And much respect to that guy. We all went, sat down, ate. I came back looking for the guy, but he was gone, to tell him, hey, and enjoy it. I enjoyed talking to you, but he was already gone. You know, uh, Another lady that I met here in Atlanta while I was delivering. Either I was delivering or picking up a load. No, I think I was picking up a load, and I met this lady. She is over there off of Fulton Industrial, and like one of those like little business parks where it's like a whole bunch of buildings together, like warehouses and stuff like that. Well, she's a wine distributor, right? She's a wine distributor over there off of Fulton Industrial. Y'all, I forgot her name, just like the last guy that I talked about. I forgot his name. I'm terrible with that. But I got so wrapped up with talking to her, and she was just talking to me and telling me that she was a pilot for the Italian army, because she's Italian. She's from Italy, and she was a pilot. Now, how many years she was a pilot, I'm not exactly sure how many years she was a pilot for the Italian army, you know? And then she moved on to doing other jobs, married, children, up until being a wine distributor here, having her own business and doing her own thing. So interesting that was, interesting to know. You know, like I said, when it comes to people out here, the dedication, the level of success that they, get out here and try to achieve, once that success has been achieved, here come the haters. Like I said, here come the haters. You know, is it sad? Yes, it is, because they have so much to say about people they don't know, or don't know anything, and what all they have been through, you know, and it's sad. It's sad. So anybody out here that is trying to make a start in something and be successful at it, I pray that whatever you do, you make it. You make it, because I know it means a lot to reach the top of that mountain and say, "Yay, I've done it." And I know that. I know it means a lot. So continue to keep striving. My kid, I had her on this podcast as a guest, and she is a freshman at Jacksonville State University in Jackson, Alabama. Very good school. Okay. I also had my nephew on here talking about football. And my nephew, he did his signing um, this week, and he will be playing football at Clayton State University. And I went yesterday, when they have to do, the orientation, the walk around of the campus and all of that. I had gone out there, and met with, you know, the parents, one being my sister, you know, and my niece and my great nephew. We were out there for that, you know. And then there's, of course, my niece. I had her on this podcast as well. And she is now attending mortuary school. And she works and takes care of her baby, you know. So I wish them, by them being young and between the ages of 18 and 21, much success at whatever it is that they're trying to do in life. With all this chaos that's going on out here in the world, you know, I tell anybody, I don't care how old you are, who you are, or what it is you're trying to do, push hard. Push hard through all this madness, because it can get the best of you. I one more last thing. I'm around my wife at times, and she's forever, studying for her test, uh, creating more products, you know, um, doing more, um, talks in terms of the healthcare profession, or mental, I should say mental, what is it? Mental health awareness. She does that as well. So, that's her field, that's her thing, that's what she does. And I watch her behind the scenes with what all she does. And tired, frustrated, the whole nine. But no matter what, she pushes through. So it's a lot when you're wanting to be successful at what you do. My sister, um, she had, I'm gonna say, a health scare, and I'm glad she made it through. She made it through, and she's doing much better. She's doing much better, and she has her own business that she tries to keep up and do herself. Uh, But like I said, anybody, no matter what, no matter who you are, continue to be the very best at what you're trying to achieve. And that's it for me, y'all. I'm DJ Emotion, and I enjoy talking with y'all. Bye.